Quick question. Why do affirmations work for some people but completely fail for others? Same words, same technique, completely different results. It's because they're working from the wrong layer. There are 6 layers between a thought in your head and the reality you experience. Most people are working from layer 3 or 4, trying to force change from the surface. But the real power, it's at the bottom of the pyramid. I'm going to show you all 6 layers, exactly how they work together, and most importantly, where you need to intervene to create lasting change. But you have to watch all 6 layers. If you skip just one, you'll miss why all of your attempts to change haven't been working. So let's go. All right, quick recap from last week's video. We established 3 things. Your outer world is always a perfect mirror to your inner world. Consciousness, who you believe you are, is the creating force. And real change happens from the inside out, not the outside in. Now, here's what most people ask me after they actually get that. Okay, I get it, but how does consciousness create reality? What's the actual mechanism? That's what this video is all about. The mechanism, the process, what we call the pyramid. There are 6 layers, and they work in a specific sequence. And here's what's really critical. If you try to change your reality at the wrong layer, you'll get temporary results at best, but when you work at the right layer, everything changes. Let me show you the whole pyramid and we'll break down each layer. This is your consciousness pyramid. These are the 6 layers between who you are and what you experience. At the very bottom, the foundation is consciousness, who you believe you are. Above that, assumptions, what you believe to be true based on who you are. Then thoughts, the mental chatter that flows from your assumptions. Then emotions, the feelings generated by those thoughts. Then actions, the behaviors driven by those emotions. And at the very top is your physical reality, what you actually experience and see in your life. Now here's what most people do. They try to change physical reality directly. They take action, they push, they force. Or if you're a little more sophisticated, they try to change their thoughts. Positive thinking, affirmation. Think different thoughts and your life will change. But that doesn't stick because they haven't gone deep enough. The real work happens here at the foundation, the consciousness. Change the bottom layer and every layer above it automatically shifts. The whole pyramid reorganizes. But try to change the top without changing the bottom, and you're just building on sand. Let me walk you through each layer, from the bottom to the top, so you understand exactly how this works. Layer 1 is consciousness. This is the foundation of everything. Your consciousness is your fundamental sense of identity. It's not what you think about yourself. It's what you know yourself to be. And here's the key distinction most people miss. Your consciousness is whatever follows the words I am. Not I want to be, not I'm trying to be, not I hope to be. It's I am. Whatever you generally accept as I am, that's your consciousness. That's your identity. That's the foundation the entire pyramid is built on. And here's what's powerful. You can't lie at this level. You can say affirmations all day. I am wealthy. I am worthy. I am confident. But if deep down your consciousness, your true sense of identity is saying, I'm someone who struggles, those affirmations won't stick at all. Because consciousness is deeper than words. It's your state of being. And this consciousness, this sense of who you are, creates everything in the layers above it. So let me show you. Layer 2 is assumptions. These are the beliefs about reality that flow automatically from your consciousness. Based on who you believe you are, you make assumptions about what's true and what's possible for yourself. If I am this kind of person, then this must be true about my life. So take a step back. I'm going to give you an example really quick. I am wealthy. Money flows to me easily. Opportunities come to me. I can afford what I need. Versus, I am broke. Money is hard to come by. Nothing works out for me. I can't afford anything. See how it works? Your consciousness generates assumptions automatically. If your consciousness is, I am wealthy, you naturally assume money flows easily and that opportunities come to you and you can afford things. But if your consciousness is, I am broke, you assume money is hard, opportunities are rare, and you can't afford anything. Same world, same economy, same opportunities available. Completely different assumptions based on completely different consciousness. And here's why this matters. Your assumptions determine what thoughts you habitually think. You can't sustain thoughts that contradict your assumptions. That's why positive affirmations fail for most people. Trying to think money comes easy, but your assumption is money is hard to get, and the result is the thought doesn't stick. Your mind rejects it and returns back to the assumption. You're trying to think thoughts at layer 4, but contradict your assumptions at layer 2. It won't work because assumption is deeper. The assumption always wins. This is why we have to go to the foundation. You got to change consciousness, and then the assumptions change automatically. Change the foundation, and everything built on it shifts. All right, we're at the foundation, consciousness and assumptions. These are the two deepest layers. Now we're going to move up the pyramid, and we're going to see exactly how these create thoughts, emotions, actions, and ultimately, your reality. Stay with me. This is where it all connects. Layer 3 is thoughts, your mental chatter, the constant stream of ideas and images and inner dialogue. Now, most personal development gurus and self-help books, they all focus here. Just change your thoughts and change your life. Positive thinking, control your mindset. And, it's not wrong. Your thoughts do matter, but here's what they don't tell you. Your thoughts flow from your assumptions. They're generated by layer 2. You can't think thoughts that contradict your assumptions for very long. If your assumption is, I'm not good enough, your thoughts will naturally reflect that. I'll probably mess this up. They won't like me. I should play it safe. You can try to think positive thoughts over the top of that. I'm confident. I've got this. But it's like trying to swim upstream. You're just fighting against your own assumptions. But if your assumptions change to I am capable, suddenly the thoughts change automatically. I can handle this. This is an opportunity. I've got this. Same situation, same challenge, different assumptions, different thoughts. And here's what's beautiful. You don't have to force positive thoughts when your assumptions are aligned. The thoughts flow naturally from your state, which brings us to the next layer. Layer 4, emotions, your feeling states, how you actually feel in your body and being. Your thoughts generate your emotions. This is basic psychology. What you think about creates what you feel. Think worried thoughts, you feel anxiety. Think grateful thoughts, you feel appreciation. Think fearful thoughts, you feel scared. Simple, right? But here's what's not simple. You can't fake your emotional state. You can pretend, but you can't put a mask on it. Your body knows, your subconscious knows. Follow the chain. If your consciousness is, I am struggling, your assumptions is, things are hard for me. Your thoughts are, this won't work. Your emotions will be frustration, anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. You can't think those thoughts and feel peaceful. You can't hold those assumptions and feel confident. The emotions are a direct result of the layer below them. And this is important. Your emotions are feedback. They're telling you what consciousness you're operating from. If you're constantly feeling anxious, stressed, or frustrated, that's not wrong. That's not weakness. That's information. That's your subconscious and your assumptions showing you themselves through your emotional state. If you're constantly feeling anxious, stressed, or frustrated, that's not wrong. That's not weakness. That's information. That's your consciousness and your assumptions showing themselves through your emotional state. And this emotional state, it directly drives the next layer. Layer 5, actions, your behaviors, what you actually do in the world. This is where most traditional success advice lives. Just take action. Work harder, do more, push through. The action does matter. I'm not saying it doesn't, but here's the problem. You act from your emotional state, not from your goals. Your actions are driven by how you feel, which is driven by what you think, which is driven by your assumptions, which comes from your consciousness. You can set a goal. You can know what action to take, but if your emotional state is fear, anxiety, or doubt, you'll either not take the action or you'll take it from the wrong energy and it won't work. Look at this example. Same action, same opportunity. This person approaches from confidence. Their energy is certainty and excitement. This person approaches from insecurity. Their energy is fear and doubt. Same action, completely different results. Because the action itself isn't what creates the results. It's the state you take action from that creates the result. And that state, it's determined by all the layers below it, which brings us to the top of the pyramid. Layer 6 is the physical reality, what you actually experience and see in your life. This is the top of the pyramid, the final result. Your physical reality, your bank account, your relationships, your health, your circumstances, is the natural outcome of all 5 layers below it. It's the mirror reflecting your consciousness back to you. And here's what's critical to understand. You can't change layer 6 directly. You can't force your reality to be different while the other 5 layers below it remain the same. I mean, you can try, you can push, you can hustle, you can manipulate circumstances, but it won't last because the pyramid is built from the bottom up. Change layer 1, consciousness, and layer 2 automatically shifts. Your assumptions change. New assumptions generate new thoughts at layer 3. New thoughts create new emotions at layer 4. New emotions drive new actions at layer 5. And actions create results at layer 6. That's the mechanism. That's how consciousness creates reality. It's not magic. It's not mystical. It's a process. Change the foundation and every layer built on it reorganizes. But try to change the top without changing the bottom, you're just building on sand and it's going to crumble. All right, so now you know the 6 layers. Now the question is, where do you intervene? Where do you do the work? Most people work at layer 3 or 4. They try to control their thoughts, like think positive, use affirmations, or they try to manage their emotions, just feel better or be grateful. And it's exhausting because they're fighting against layer 2 and layer 1. The answer? You work at layer 1, consciousness. You change who you believe yourself to be, not by forcing thoughts, not by faking emotions, not by creating actions from a depleted state. You go to the foundation. You shift your consciousness. You change your fundamental sense of identity. Who are you? Not who do I want to be, but who are you? When you change that, you generally shift your consciousness. Everything above it shifts automatically. Your assumptions align with your new consciousness. Your thoughts naturally reflect those new assumptions. Your emotions flow from those thoughts, and your actions are driven by those emotions, and your reality mirrors the whole darn thing. That's the power of working at the foundation. And that's what we're going to learn to do in the next several videos. All right, let's bring this thing home. You now understand the 6 layers. You know how they work together, and you know where the real power is. Now here's what I want you to do. Think about one area of your life you want to change. Same area we've been working with the last video. Look at your physical reality in that area. That's layer 6. Now trace it down the pyramid. What actions have you been taking? Layer 5. What emotions drive those actions? Layer 4. What thoughts generate those emotions? Layer 3. What assumptions underline those thoughts? Layer 2. And finally, what consciousness, what identity is creating all of it? Who are you being in that area of your life? Not who you want to be, who are you actually being? Because that's your starting point. That's where we work from. And in the next video, we're going to go even deeper. I'm going to show you exactly how to map your current consciousness across all major areas of your life. Because you can't change what you can't see. So we're going to make it visible. If this is making sense, if you're starting to see how this all fits together, hit the subscribe button. We're building something here, and it's only going to get more practical from here. In the next video, you're going to do real work. You're going to identify your specific consciousness patterns, and then we're going to learn how to change them. I'll see you there. You're exactly where you need to be.